'80s, high school character.
Now you're picking the Saints. I gotta ask. I mean, with the running back issues they have, you might get out of a game with the Seahawks, who, by the way, have their support in the chat room.
Yeah.
But like, don't you? At a point in time, if you can't run the ball, I mean,
I'm picking a no-running NFC Championship game.
Okay,
I think that Green Bay can't run, and
Green Bay can't run.
Aaron Rodgers and New Orleans can't run. But I think that those
I think with the defenses they would have to beat to get there.
Quarterback pick. I think that the best quarterbacks pilot the best teams, and they're gonna throw screens, and they're gonna.
Colin Cowherd made a good point about Aaron Rodgers today. He's had one good year, one great year, a couple of good years. He's looked inconsistent at times. He's looked inconsistent this year.
I don't really think that's true. I think that mostly, even when they lose, he looks good, and the team looks bad. He has no support behind him.
I think he's got
good receivers. He's got a good line.
You guys are crazy.
Yeah, I don't think he's. I think there's an advantage of him.
Look at his numbers again, and then talk to me.
I don't think he's that good. I really don't. I mean,
that's because you're a Bears fan.
What has he done in the playoffs yet?
It's because you're a Bears fan.
It's not. Well, I mean, we beat him once, and then we gave him another game at home. So I don't think he's that good. And I think that the book is still written on him, but I don't think he's that good. If he proves me wrong now, it'll be the first time.
Now, let's be honest. You should really be sending flowers to a certain defensive front four in Detroit for knocking him out of 2 games, which is what won you the division.
We got knocked out of a game against the Giants, so there's been more quarterbacks gone down this year than not. So, but you guys put what, 4 out?
Was it?
Over the course of the Lions put how many out?
No, the Giants put 5 out.
You guys put 4 out.
We did all right. I mean, look, the point is...
We did all right.
The point is...
And by we, you mean Sue, basically. I mean,
well, that's what quit Averill. That team.
Everybody contributed.
He and Van Der Bosch, even when Van Der Bosch got hurt, just made everyone around them better. If they fix their linebacking and a bit of that defensive secondary, watch out.
Yeah. And if they get a quarterback who can make it through 4 games.
Well, that's true. If his shoulder doesn't disintegrate.
Yeah, peanut brittle arm there.
Matt Waterford Crystal.
I'm not going to argue any of that.
So that's the playoff picture this weekend. I'm stoked. It's going to be awesome.
Do we have any NBA conversations?
We have some NBA good games coming up. Tonight we got Orlando and Houston. I think that'll be an interesting
Orlando
game.
looking good.
Orlando's looking real good.
That looking better and better.
Yeah. Dwight Howard needs to pump the brakes on his endorsement contracts. I'm already sick. Like Ed Hardy billboards, Vitamin Water commercials, Gatorade,
Under Armour. Probably can before he comes and joins Kobe in LA.
Well, I got to ask.
You think he's going to make the Shaq move?
Maybe.
Let me ask you a question to that point now. And Blake Griffin commits yesterday to do the slam dunk contest.
He's so awesome, by the way.
I'm going to that game.
Like, I have to tell you what, this might be the first time I actually want to watch the slam dunk.
I bet you
all those guys never do it.
I bet you they popped that rating.
Staples Center.
I would go. I've been before. I would go.
I bet you they popped that rating a lot higher than it's been in recent years.
By the way, watching Blake Griffin, even though the Clippers suck,
he is so entertaining.
He is.
Well, and you know it's a.
He's not just good. He's good and entertaining.
You better watch it this year. You know he's one and done.
He can assist too. He fucking passer.
He's so awesome.
He's perfect for that team too because he's a good team guy.
Yeah.
And the Byrons of the world that are sort of a little bit of poison at this point in the career, he's not affected by it.
Nope. Because he's got a young guy like Eric Gordon to help him on the other side.
Yeah, but as long as Donald Sterling owns the Clippers, he'll be going.
Hey, at least he made the right decision to get rid of Dunleavy. That's a start.
Yeah, but he left him there for how long before he did it?
He berates his own players.
That's how he taunts his own players.
Yeah.
Well, that in fairness, this particular player who we like and we know people who work for has not been in great shape.
No.
He's got other things on his mind.
Yeah.
Well, and so another good game this weekend tonight on ESPN. New York versus Phoenix. And Amari going back into the desert.
Yeah.
There's been a lot of rumors that they're looking to get rid of Nash and trade him.
He could go to New York.
The microfracture this motherfuckers game.
Look, New York's playing good, man. New York's playing really good.
That's what I'm saying.
The Suns are playing real bad.
The Suns aren't good. They need to trade Nash.
What about the Hornets and Lakers tonight?
Hornets and Lakers will be a good game tomorrow night. Boston and Chicago on NBA TV, I believe. That'll be a really good game.
Which one of NBA? The NBA channel?
I do. It's pretty good.
They show a lot of highlights at the end of games, which you need.
There's a lot of NBA game time.
But when you're watching that, they switch to like the last couple minutes of a game.
It's like the red zone channel.
Listen, I'll tell you what. It has a lot to recommend it over the NFL Network, given that I have cable and I am able to
watch it.
Yeah, there's that. They also have Jamal Mashburn doing commentary, which is funny because he was Mr. Drop the Gloves and Fight, even though he wasn't in hockey.
Right. I love Jamal Mashburn.
Yeah.
The best studio show, though, is the TNT NBA studio.
Oh,
that's terrible. That's terrible, Max. That's terrible.
I love Barkley.
Yeah, he is good.
Can I just say one thing we have not discussed over the last week I think is worth noting and discussing and yes, I'm a homer for this, but I have to do it, which is the Winter Classic did a very solid number for NBC.
We're going to get to that in a little bit. When we get
I apologize.
No, but just for the people out there, Nick's hockey picks are on the site right now. SportsBartender.com. He's got the upcoming weekend in hockey. But did you guys check out the Winter Classic?
I did. I actually was at the Rose Bowl, so I didn't get to.
I watched. I flipped back and forth. I thought that
there was a fight. They had a fight on NBC.
I love it.
There was slush rating
Gary
down.
Bettman's got to be pulling his hair out watching.
Why? It popped the biggest rating they ever had.
I'm not arguing.
People want to see the fight. Like
I need to not use the football camera stanchions for the Winter Classic.
Well, they also needed to not use the blimp on Mars camera.
I felt like I was 1,000 miles away from that game, which I didn't feel when it was at Fenway or when it was at.
There were a couple of people complaining about camera angles.
Yeah, well, because they use the Steelers camera stanchions and they're made for football, which is a much bigger field, and it felt really far away. They should have figured out a way to put cameras closer to the thing. It felt like I was standing at the top.
It should be easier because you don't have anything in the air. You can totally
but if you're the NHL, okay, I don't know that it could have gone much better because
the weather didn't help.
No, I think it did help.
Prime time, which now it's going to be a prime time game forever now.
People like the weather.
I think so.
Nighttime
and more importantly, Ovechkin won, which is what they needed. If Crosby won again, it would have killed that. And now you've got more people interested in that rivalry that, God willing, the Capitals get their heads on straight and those teams play in the playoffs is great for the league.
They did a lot of smart things. 24/7 on HBO was really good. They also put it online on Yahoo for free.
They did?
It's on a couple hockey blogs there. I'll send you the link. It's really good.
That's smart.
And also, they had the team play a week before. They played each other in Washington.
And didn't
a week
Pittsburgh
before.
win that one?
Pittsburgh won that one. But, I mean, it built up the anticipation. And everyone knew that game was a preview more than it was.
Right.
And it was very, very...
And those are guys that just clearly don't like each other. They didn't shake hands at the end of the game.
Does Sidney Crosby still live in Mario Lemieux's house?
Yes.
Does he still?
That's hilarious.
Yeah, he does. And look,
out for a week, concussion.
It brought you a lot of good interest in the sport. It let you see hockey players in their sort of lifestyle. It's an interesting breed of guy.
A lot more cussing than the NFL.
Well, they're a lot less sophisticated seeming than NFL players seem to be.
But they're more kid-like, but a little more honored than a lot of kids that you find in this generation. I thought the scenes. I mean, if you watch 24/7, they show them getting on a plane. They're all playing Black Ops against each other on the plane. They're not gambling and getting in fights like NBA guys.
Yeah.
Boo-ray, yeah. I think that they're going to outlaw that.
Yeah.
I think that's the last time we see that.
For me, as a guy who's trying to get back into it, I like seeing that everybody has their role on the team, especially when they talk about who needs to fight and who doesn't need to fight, who needs to be aggressive, who needs to be scoring, all these different things.
Well, and even in 24/7 when they showed the GM and the coach evaluating the players and giving them he got
4 stars, 5
3, 4 stars, and he goes, he got 3 stars. Then he got the fights for 3.5.
Right. Wait, so the whole season of 24/7 is available for free online?
It was only 4 episodes.
Okay.
And it was free online. Yeah, but it was like a week after they showed it, so I was catching up as it went. But it was fascinating stuff, and I highly suggest you check it out. And check out Nick's picks to if you're interested in what games are good this weekend.
You get the sense, though, and maybe it's the economy, that both basketball, which has had ratings go up tremendously, and hockey are really starting to maybe get a little bit of an upward momentum.
Yeah, well, the NFL is doing great, though, too.
Yeah, well, again, it's people are staying home and watching television.
Yeah. It's so expensive to go now.
It's not as expensive to go to a hockey game, and NBA's even reduced their prices a little bit. So if you're going to an NFL game, you got to mortgage your house a little bit. And even baseball, if you take a family of 4, it's expensive. And
$200, I think I saw, was the average price for family of 4 to go to a baseball game,
which is ridiculous.
Jesus.
But that includes food and parking
right. So if you guys have any questions, put them in the chat room right now. Jeff, has anybody put any?
Yeah, we have a couple actually.
Cool.
I think this is an interesting stress question vis-a-vis Robin Hood for you guys, and I think it leads into maybe a larger discussion. So David Beckham looks like he is going to leave, to go over there now. What does that do to? So what does that say about his? I guess it's been 4 years in MLS.
This isn't the first time he did this, though. He's asked for an extension before.
They loaned him out once before, right?
He got hurt and he came back and then he sucked.
Right. So what do you think about that? And what does that do at any level to? Has that MLS and
Here's what I think.
His relevance? You are the commissioner of FIFA.
Yes, I am commissioner of FIFA. So
you're the sports bartender commissioner.
So I think that soccer is going to grow in America and continue to grow, but it's going to grow organically with U.S. stars. I think that what it shows is that an American audience does not give a shit about
the big guy from overseas.
The big English Premier League or Champions League guys. They don't, you know,
they don't. If we don't have homegrown stars.
Yeah, they don't care about Ronaldo. They don't care about. They don't even really care about Beckham. The people who care about Beckham are not people who really care about sports.
No, they're LA folks.
Well, speaking of in the room, Hurricane Helm says Beckham's awesome. I love tennis.
Yeah,
so that's
but I mean, like the people who they thought that Beckham was going to be a crossover guy because he was worldwide famous, but in America, the people who cared about David Beckham were really the women who cared about his wife and don't watch soccer.
No, and the people that read Us Weekly and
when the MLS is really going to catch on is when the biggest American stars continue. In the way that, what's his face?
Freddie Adu?
No. Who's the, I'm blanking on his
name. Or whatever.
Landon Donovan stayed in the MLS and didn't go to Europe to play. Mm-hmm. And when more of the American stars start to do that, the MLS is going to keep...
But doesn't the money have to be at some level...
Yeah, but people keep thinking it's going to happen overnight. It's not. Like, first Seattle has a really successful MLS team. And then another team is going to get a star from the next World Cup, and that team is going to be really successful.
But Landon Donovan plays here in LA, and it hasn't really popped them that much more. He's the biggest star we really have.
Isn't Ronaldo's love child technically American?
Yes.
So there you go.
That could be very interesting.
If he ends up being a great soccer player,
I think you also get to the psyche of Americans, like you were saying, how we feel about football. When you think about the events of 2010, the World Cup happened, but that's definitely not in the top 10 for Americans.
No.
Do you know what I mean?
No, it was
hockey.
If we would actually beat England instead of tying them,
if I was the president of the MLS, I would be hoping and praying for both an NBA and an NFL lockout. Then
soccer becomes relevant.
Yeah. Well, and they need to work on their scheduling too. Their championship games should not be played at the same time as Monday Night Football or Sunday Night Football.
Robin Hood brings up a good point to this end. How do they ever compete with like Premier League?
They don't.
The atmosphere.
They don't. But
even now that that's on TV and on Xbox and these things, and Sirius just did a deal you saw with Man U.
But again, the American audience wants to see an American-grown star. If that American-grown star was playing for the Chicago MLS team or the Washington D.C. MLS team or the New York, then we would be paying more attention to that. They don't necessarily want to see the European League yet. If we got an interest in our own home, then we pay attention to a little more.
And we put ourselves on the stage.
Yeah, it's going to happen slowly, and as the league grows, it's going to slowly grow, and eventually they're going to renegotiate their TV contract, and they're going to get a lot more coverage, and then people are going to start to watch. And it's going to happen.
Look, there's more kids in the U.S. play soccer than play baseball.
It's the biggest participation sport in the United States.
So then here's the question. Do you take college soccer players, collegiate-level soccer players, and infuse them into the MLS and say, this is where you get your homegrown talent?
It's like your development.
But where they're going to make names is in the World Cup. And that's what's going to happen. Right. And if U.S.
But that's only 4...
I know, but what's going to really jumpstart the U.S. does really well
the Olympics, every 2 years you have World Cup, Olympics. And that's when we're going to pay attention to soccer until it becomes a bigger thing here. And until we have our homegrown big star, what Freddie Adu we thought was going to be, whatever, until that guy is on the cover of magazines here, going into Tonight Show, all that things that we expect from an American sports star, we're not going to pay enough attention.
David Beckham's also not good anymore. I mean, he's Joe Montana on the Chiefs.
Yes.
He's Jerry Rice on Denver.
Right.
God, I forgot about that.
Yes, he retired. He retired to Denver Broncos.
Seahawks as well.
Did he? Because I remember he went to the Raiders.
He went to the Raiders and did well with the Raiders, and then went to Seahawks for a year, and then went to camp with the Broncos. And I don't think
he managed to erase all that.
And then signed as a 49er and retired as a 49er.
Yes, that's what they did.
Taters Deep, who was from Memphis, and do you know a friend of yours? From Memphis.
Love the name, Taters.
Taters Deep, love it.
French fried taters.
Deep.
Some folks call it a Kaiser blade. Had a couple combat sports questions.
Yeah.
Looking at the UFC show. I don't know if anybody watched the UFC show from this past
week. Did not, but paid attention to it.
David Swan took on Chris Lieben, looked great against him.
Yeah.
We'll talk about his prospects, and also brings up, and I think this is a very interesting question, the Klitschko's dodging David Haye to fight to unify the titles in boxing, which is really like one of the only heavyweight fights.
Well, and David said he'd take one or
he'd have either.
He had either, and he said he wanted one, and then he'd take after he's done. Take
one of the Klitschko's better than the other one.
Well, There was a period where you would have said
Vitaly would have been better.
Right. I mean, it was interesting because Vladimir was the guy that everyone thought was going to be the machine.
Which one dates Hayden Panettiere?
Vladimir.
Okay.
Vladimir.
Which is odd.
Yeah.
It's the strangest thing in the history of mankind. By the way, Robin Hood says that Freddie Adu was a star and was coached wrong. I don't know about that.
I didn't follow close enough. All I know is that when he came out of high school and went into MLS, he got all the hype of a big time
more as much as any, like LeBron loved him.
And then everyone remembered that he was playing soccer.
Right, he was